Hey everyone.
God, that was a super creepy ending.
You like that, huh?
I do not.
Should that be my signature? Should I maybe start with my back turn? Then I give him one of these. Hey. That's a good one, eh?
You guys vote on that. You guys can figure that out.
Up to you, yeah. If you got any requests for a dope intro from Owen, just put them in the comments section. Welcome to our Thursday evening sharpening extravaganza. My name is Owen. My associate Francis is here manning the computers. Hi, Francis.
Hello.
Tonight we are going to, for a change, sharpen some knives.
Wow.
Yeah. If you've ever been in the shop, welcome back. If this is your first time visiting Knifewear Vancouver, welcome. Tonight we are going to go over some of our favorite basic techniques for getting knives sharpened, right? It may seem like a kind of complicated thing. You come into the shop and you see us working with all these tools and this machinery. It's really not that complicated a thing to start figuring out. All you need is some stones, namely a Knifewear 220 and 1000 or similar stones to that, a knife, and a couple of hands. So if we're all ready to go, let's kick it, guys. So today I'm going to sharpen my Kokuto. This is nice classic stuff right here. These are one of our staples here at the store. It's made out of Ginsan steel. It's got an American cherry handle and a Paka wood collar. It is a very, very, very nice under $200 Santoku, one of my absolute favorites in the shop. And this type of steel is brilliant. I really, really like working with it. Easily one of the favorite steels here in the shop. It's super bad shape. But I'm still going to start on the 220 just because this is a class, right? So let's talk a little bit about stones. The most important stones to have in your kit. A lot of people would say the 1000 is super important, and I would agree. A 1000 grit is not too coarse and not too fine. So I use the word grit quite a bit, and what that refers to, basically you can think of it like sandpaper. The higher the number, the smoother it is. So 1000 is like a medium grit stone, right? I'm going to start on my Knifewear 220, which is a very low grit stone. This is one of my very favorite stones for grinding steel very, very, very quickly. If you have dull knives or damaged knives or broken tips or something along those lines, the 220 is going to be your best friend because it's coarse and it goes fast. It removes steel really, really quickly. If you have a really dull knife and you only have a 1000, you're going to have to set up camp at your sharpening station, get a little stove and a TV and some reading materials and maybe a cot. But if you have a 220, you can do a lot of work very, very, very fast. So that's what I'm going to start on. So one of the most common questions I get, how do I take care of my stone? How do I know if I need to soak my stone or not? It's a very good question because if you have a stone that does not require soaking, you should not soak it at all because it can cause damage to the stone. So I'll grab this guy here. This is a right off the shelf, exact same stone as I have right here. So this guy has been soaking all day. This stone actually soaks 24/7 here at our shop because we're sharpening every single day. And if I put water onto this guy, you can see it dripping down into the bucket there. This guy is very well saturated. But if I take my fresh stone here and I do the exact same thing, you can see that the water does in fact not run off of the stone. It gets absorbed directly into the stone extremely quickly. This is a very, very, very thirsty stone. So I would definitely pop this into the water for, a good 20 minutes or so before I begin using it. Let it absorb some of that moisture. You always want to have water on your stones, whether it's a splash on or whether it's a soaking stone. They should always be nice and wet so that you have proper lubrication so you don't grind the stone improperly and you get a good finish on your knife, right?
Absolutely.
So my 220 grit, this guy's all prepped up and ready to go. I am working with a Knifewear bamboo sink bridge, but we have a lot of different tools to help keep your stones and your fingers safe. You should definitely invest in some sort of stone holder. We got these guys, which are like $33. We got spring-loaded ones for $55. You should get something that can hold the stone. Not only does it make it easier to work on so it doesn't slide around, but it also raises it off the table just a little bit. Excuse me for one moment, guys.
Oh. Nice.
Cheers.
Nice.
Got 33 acres today. Our homies at 33 acres are the best. They always bring us a lot of
lollipops and
rainbows. Everything and wonderful is how I feel when we're together. Nah, that's fine. Yeah, I'm done.
When are you working again?
This is a Haruyuki Kokuto. Haruyuki Kokuto. Haruyuki is one of our favorite knife manufacturers. They make really, really brilliant stuff, and they're all like really reasonably priced. So if you're looking for a good starter knife, if you're looking for a good sort of rugged knife, if you're looking to bolster up your kit or get somebody a gift, I would definitely look at the Haruyuki stuff.
Haruyuki.
So another question that I get very frequently is, how do I measure the angle at which I'm sharpening? And this is a really, really common question. How do I know what angle to sharpen my knife at? I'm going to break it down for you really simple. Japanese knives, 15 degrees. European knives, 22 degrees. There you go. Of course, there are exceptions to those rules, but if you are at a loss, those are the two angles that you're looking at. How do I measure those two angles? Great question. Glad you asked. One of my favorite tools to measure your angle is the trusty nickel. These nickels here. Nickels are the ultimate tool for measuring the angle that you want to work on your knife at. The procedure is very simple. I'm going to take 3 nickels. 1, 2, 3. And I put them down on my stone. That is a grand total of 15 cents. You can imagine 1 cent per degree. So if I wanted to do 20 degrees, I would add a 4th nickel onto there, but I only want to do 3. 3 nickels, 1, 2, 3. I'm going to take another nickel. This is my spacer nickel. I'm going to put it directly behind that stack of 3 nickels. Yeah? I'm going to take my knife, and I'm going to put it perpendicular to the stone-ish, right behind that nickel. That's my spacer nickel, which I then remove, and then I lay my knife down, and that gives me 15 degrees, give or take.
Amazing.
Amazing, right? Very, very simple. This is the angle that I want to be aiming for my micro bevel on my knife. It is a very simple trick to do. There's other tools you can get. We carry something called a toe grip. If you go on knifewear.com and you look up toe grip, you'll find this little clip, this little thingy that attaches to the back of your knife and sort of acts as those nickels that stay attached to your knife while you work. They're very handy. You can consider them like training wheels, which you should probably graduate from at some point. But the nickel trick works really, really, really well. So let's move. Let's move this knife around on this stone, because that's essentially all sharpening is. You take a knife and you move it around on the stone, and then you have a sharp knife eventually, right? So I'm going to take some water. Always have some nice water onto your stone. I'm going to put my knife at around 15 degrees, and I'm going to put my fingers nice and close to the edge. Not actually hanging over the edge, but nice and close to the edge. I want to make sure that I don't develop what we call in the industry stone finger. The dreaded stone finger syndrome, where you've rubbed your fingers raw, literally on a rock that's designed to cut steel. It is not a pleasant feeling. So make sure that you have your fingers off of the stone and well on the knife. I sort of have my fingers clustered up. I like to start at the chin. This is just how I operate. I know Francis starts at the tip, but you don't have him this week. You have him next week. So we're gonna start at the chin.
Sweet.
You like that one?
Yeah.
It's like I'm David Letterman and you're Paul Schaefer. This is great. You don't understand that reference at all, do you?
Yeah, you just continue on.
Yeah.
Just continue.
3 fingers down towards the edge of the blade, but not actually touching the stone. Move back and forth and back and forth. Now, what's important here is consistency in that blade. Consistency is really, really important. Don't worry if that's not super important. What's important is that you're being consistent. Indeed. Notice how I am holding the knife at sort of a 45-degree-ish angle along my stone here. Comfort's sake. I think this is a comfortable posture. If I hold swung out here and I'm not able to hold a steady angle. Elbows down at your sides, more movement from your biceps, back and forth. So what's going to happen after a few strokes? Grinding steel. There is steel that is being removed from the edge of my knife, and it is mixing in with the water and is pouring into the basin. There is also some steel that is being moved from one side of the knife onto the other. That's what we call burr. So rub, 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 a little bit of steel comes and points that way, which you can then feel with your fingers. I sort of put my finger on the knife where I was sharpening, but on the side that I was not sharpening on, and I feel for a little burr. I'm going to keep going until I feel that burr here. Take your time, go nice and slow. Go nice and slow. Let me know if I'm going too fast. Let Francis know if I'm going too fast. Don't tell me.
If he's going too fast.
I'll go nice and slow. It should feel literally just like a little wire of steel attached to If you're having trouble feeling for it with the top, where the knife was not even touching the stone, and then feel back here again. You should be able to feel it pretty strong. Once I feel burr in that neighborhood of my knife, I am going to move up 3 finger widths to the middle portion of my blade here. And I'm going to repeat the process. If you feel like you have lost your angle, if you feel like you need to remeasure your angle, remeasure your angle.
Everyone's talking about apron on chat here.
Oh, for God's sakes, guys, come on. We've been over this. It's been, what, like 2 months since I got this apron now?
Oh, everyone loves your apron.
You know what? I'll allow it.
Everybody loves your apron.
Go ahead and chirp about my apron. Tell the whole world how dope Owen looks.
Oh, yeah.
No, nothing bad, right? They're not saying bad stuff about my apron,
No,
are they?
guys, this guy says fantastic apron.
That's good. Thank you.
Fantastic apron.
Fantastic apron.
Yeah, I always put that in there. I always put that
That
in
was
there.
almost a little Frandian slip there, wasn't it?
Yeah. You guys can go follow me here. Fantastic Sharpening here.
That was a fantastic segue. You got to plug yourself there.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
A little shameless plug.
Yeah.
Continue on with the sharpening now.
Thank you. Thank you for allowing me to continue with the sharpening. So I'm starting to feel burr in both of these sort of sections that I've been working in here. So I can move into the tip area of the knife. Now the tip can be a little bit tricky. This shape is called a santoku. A santoku is really typified by having sort of a flat-ish kind of edge with just a little bit of a tip up near the top of the blade. If you have a chef's knife, it might go, it might sort of have a little bit of a higher tip on there. If you got an akiri, it might be even a lower tip on there. The tip is typically a harder part of the knife to do. So if you have a very pointed knife, this technique is really important. So we're going to work on the tip of this knife. I have my fingers sort of clustered all the way down the blade, but now I spread my fingers out. So I have one finger at the tip, one finger in the middle of the belly, one finger where the tip begins to eke up. I sort of work in a back and forth kind of motion, but as I move back, I lift. See the elbow lift up over there? And it points the knife down towards the stone. And then I lower, and I lift, and I lower. You usually need to lift a little more than you think that you do need to lift, but not too much. You want to point that tip down towards the stone for sure. So lift, lower, lift, lower. Nice and gentle there. Got it. Nice burr all the way up to the tip. Feel the whole blade for burr. Better yet, dry off your knife and then feel the whole blade for burr on there. It's way easier to feel when it's dry. And then take a look at the side of the knife that you just sharpened. Take a good close look at it. Try to get the light to reflect off of the blade road. That's what we call the part that was touching the knife table. Take a look at the way the knife reflects off the blade road there and try to see if it makes it all the way up to the very, very tip of the knife and all the way back to the chin. That's what we're looking for here. All right, side A, done. We flip the record over and we go to side B.
Flip the record.
Sorry about him, guys. He's having a tough time. It's okay.
I like that.
He's fine. Don't worry about him. He's okay. Yeah. All right, so I'm going to flip over to side B. So if you want to remeasure your angle, I suggest doing so. It's the exact same way to do it as before. 3 nickels, 1, 2, 3, and 1 nickel, 1. But this time it goes in front of the pile of stones here. I'm going to pop my knife perpendicular to the stone. I then remove that spacer nickel. That goes there. And I pop this guy down. There we go. That's approximately 15 degrees on now the left side of my knife. Because I'm right-handed, I started with my right hand. That's my angle, right? So exact same as before. I get comfortable. And when I'm comfortable, my knife is now sort of 90 degrees perpendicular to the stone here. And that's totally fine. 3 fingers nice and close to the edge. Back and forth motion. That's what I'm aiming for. You having some connectivity issues?
I think we're having connectivity issues.
Oh, what a surprise.
I thought we got past this point.
Yeah.
Connectivity issues once again.
If you guys have a connectivity issue, let us know. I see you guys still on stream, so just let us know if you
Yeah.
guys can't see it and hear us.
Remember to turn Wi-Fi off once you get that thing plugged in.
We're good now. We're good.
Right. So I'm feeling for that burr exact same way as I did before. I'm doing both sides of my knife, working in 3-finger width segments here. Nice and easy. So one thing to take note of, I'm not doing this. I'm not working in one little teeny tiny section of the stone. I'm working over the entire stone. That's really important. If I work in one little section of my stone over and over and over and consistently work on that one spot, I'm going to dig a little trench into it. So I want to try to be as even as possible so my stone doesn't get like all messed up, right? And we'll go over later how to take care of your stones and keep them flat. All right, again, the tip of the knife can be problematic for a lot of people. Fingers spread out, 1, 2, 3. Lift and lower, lift, lower, lift, lower. Nice and easy.
If you guys have any questions about sharpening, just pop them in the questions on the comment there, and we can help you out. Yeah.
There we go. Nice big burr from the chin to the tip. Got it. Dope. Done. Or am I? I'm not. So 220.
That was terrible.
That was great. 220 grit is a very, very coarse stone. If I feel it with my fingers, it feels like sandy. It's really rough. And that's going to translate directly to the type of edge you get. So when you're sharpening a Japanese knife, like this one, tip number 1, go high grit. Use big numbers. We don't want small numbers. We want big numbers. I'm going to take this guy all the way up to like 6,000 or 8,000 grit. The quality of steel that the Japanese use for their blades is typically really, really high. They use very hard steels that can take an excellent polish. So essentially right now, this is a serrated, right? I'm going to grab myself some newspaper. I'm going to hold it right next to the microphone so you can hear. Very loud. Making a lot of noise there. So this is not a perfect edge. This is a very, very sawtooth kind of rough edge, which is kind of nice to have for some tools, but not for a kitchen knife. Imagine if you're chopping up like a tomato or something like that. And if you use a serrated knife and you go back and forth through that thing with a serrated knife, you're going to lose a lot of juices to the cutting board, right? You're not going to get those nice juices in your mouth, which is very, very, very important if you're cutting up something like a prime rib or tuna loin, because you paid a lot of money for that because it's nice and juicy. You want that juice to end up in your mouth. So you want to refine that edge up to a nice mirror-y kind of polish, right? So the 220, not great. Let's keep going. 220 can go back in the drink. Next step is 1K. 1,000 grit, probably the most important stone in the entire arsenal here. The 1,000 is oftentimes the stone that you need to begin with. You don't always need to go all the way down to a 220. A 220 is very, very coarse and very toothy, and it's going to grind a lot of steel, but that's not always necessary. Sometimes you can start at the 1,000. It grinds off minimal steel and really evens out your edge and makes it really sing without having to do all of this nasty work on it first. So what I want to do with this guy is I want to basically replicate exactly what I just did before. This is all about repetition. The only part of the knife that I'm working at is the blade road right there. That's all that I want to work on. That's all I want these stones to touch. So I want to do the exact same angle as before. So I'm going to take 3 coins, 1 spacer, put it directly behind. I'm going to take my knife perpendicular to the stone, remove the spacer, measure my 15-degree angle there. Beautiful. Got it. Let's do it again. Very This is like the sort of mid-step that we need to take in order to get into a fine polish. You okay there? What's up? I don't know.
Continue on. We're gonna figure this out.
All right. Sorry, guys. You'll definitely be able to feel a burr off of a 1,000 grit stone. It's only until you start getting into like 3, 4, 6,000, that's when it begins to get very, very difficult to feel for that burr. But the 1,000, still very noticeable. And for the tip, I like to spread my fingers out, tip, middle, belly, and I sort of do that rocking kind of motion, lifting up that elbow, pointing the tip of that knife down towards the stone. There we go. That should do it. Burr all the way along. Sweet. Take a look at the work that you've done. Take a look at the edge of your knife. Take a look and see where the tip starts. Take a look and see where the edge ends up on the chin of the knife. You want it to be a nice, even line all the way down. You want to find a light source and reflect that light into your face and see if there's any big changes in the angle along the way. There probably will be if it's your first time doing this, and don't get discouraged. It's just a matter of practice, repetition, and getting used to it. If it looks a little bit wavy, you're going to be okay. Your knife is going to end up pretty sharp. It's not going to be perfect. You know, if people are paying me to do this, I got to do it really well. So keep practicing at it. Then we're going to flip the knife over. We're going to do the other side. Exact same methodology. There we go, easy peasy. $1,000 grit done. So at this point, we actually have a very decently sharp knife. This is usually where I stop when I'm sharpening European steels, Henkels, Wusthoffs, that sort of thing. I find I don't see a lot of big returns from going up into the super high grit stuff on those types of knives. The Japanese steel, however, I do like to go quite a bit higher. So that's another tip. When you're sharpening Japanese steel, don't make your angle too high. You know, a lot of thicker knives, softer knives, you definitely don't want to have a super narrow angle on them because the steel is quite soft. When we're talking about hardness of the knife, it's going to, mean a couple of different things. The hardness is going to dictate how long your knife can stay sharp for. That's really important, right? Hard steels hold an edge really well, but it's also going to dictate what type of edge you can put on there. If I sharpen this guy at a 45-degree angle, I'm just wasting perfectly good Japanese steel by putting this big fat bevel on it. It's not going to feel super sharp. It's not going to hold an edge terribly well. Lower that angle down. Lower that angle down to about 18 degrees, and you'll get way, way, way better results. So before I move on to my 4,000 or 6, I think I'm going to work with a 6. I'm going to do my 6,000 grit. Before I move on to that 6K, I am going to true this stone. Truing your stones is extremely important. This is one of the most important things that you can do. Making sure that your stone stays really nice and flat is going to help you out in the long run quite a bit. Because if you don't ever true your stone, you're basically going to end up with like a big skateboard ramp here, and you're not going to be able to sharpen your knife properly anymore. So the tool that I'm going to grab is my Atoma. I have a diamond plate because I'm a fancy boy. I use diamonds to true down my stone. But if you are not willing to spend $150 on a truing device, I think that's perfectly fine. You can go ahead and grab this guy. And this is just called, this is the Knifewear truing stone. It's made out of a silicon carbide type of ceramic. It is almost flat out of the box, but it'll get there once you start working with it. The idea behind one of these things is that you want to grind the stone down nice and evenly until it is extremely flat and you can get a really, really nice consistent edge on your knife. So what I like to do after I'm done sharpening, I've always got some of this residue left on my stone. Even if I rinse it off, it's not going anywhere. I am going to true until that residue is gone, right? So I'm going to grab my truing stone, whatever you got. It's the same technique. I sort of steady my stone holder with my left hand. This is where it's really, really nice to have a stone holder when you're truing your stone. And I'm going to work in little sort of elliptical circles on this guy, making sure that my truing stone is sort of always hanging over the edge of the stone itself. And I'm going to go until I see all of that gray that I've generated while sharpening stone is all gone. This is specifically important if you are sharpening single beveled knives. It's also extremely important if you are working on wide bevel sharpening. And if you're interested in learning more about those topics, Those will be covered tomorrow in my buddy Naoto Fujimoto. You might know him already, you might not, but he's dope. He is the best sharpener I know. He teaches our advanced sharpening class at 3:30. 3:30 Pacific time?
3 o'clock, I think.
3 o'clock Pacific time on our Knifewear YouTube channel. Yeah, he's rad.
3 o'clock. Definitely check him out if you guys have a bit of time. He gives you a lot of information when you need it.
Yeah, he's also just awesome.
Yeah.
Like he's a super cool guy.
Nathan and Naoto do an awesome show.
I know Nathan. I know Nathan and I know Naoto, and I think Naoto does an awesome show.
Yeah, they would do like a 2-hour stream, and it's like super knowledgeable, and you guys like ask like a bunch of questions. You really want to nerd out.
Yeah, it's where all the dorks go. So if you want to hang out with the dorks, if you want to rub shoulders with geeks, then you can go hang out with Nathan and Naoto. But not us. We're the cool guy crew, right? Right?
Yeah.
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 Yeah? Yeah. Okay. Cool guy crew. Pizza, skateboarding. Yeah, cool guy stuff. This is my 6,000 grit Sharpening stone. Sharpening stones are awesome. They are magnesioid ceramics, meaning that they don't need to be soaked. They stay nice and flat for a long time. They have really, really sick feedback. They also have a glass base, a tempered glass base, which keeps them nice and flat and keeps them from cracking for a long time. But this thing is disgusting. It's filthy. Look at this thing. I'm going to clean this off first. So I'm going to put some water on here. I'm going to rub it. Hey, why isn't it all coming off? What do I need to do? Should I true it? I think I'm just going to use my Nagura. So a Nagura stone is just a little guy, 600 grit, super duper hard. And what it does is takes off a very, very fine top layer of stone and frees up all that gunk that gets trapped in the pores here. So I use it in a very similar fashion, the way that I would use my truing stone. Just going to work around here until I see all of that nasty stuff lifted up. There we go. Nice and tidy. Much better. Nice and clean. Nice and pristine.
Looking good.
Looking good. All right, so 6,000 grit is a pretty good polish. A lot of knives, when they come to me for sharpening here at the shop, I will finish them at 6K. I find that gives you a nice polished edge that feels really nice to cut with without getting too overboard into the 10,000, 12,000, 16,000 grit neighborhood, which sometimes gives you diminishing returns on kitchen knives. A little bit of water on top. Feels great right after you nigger it. It feels really good.
We only got 5 people, like got the 90 watt Pro 3K, and it's really good for sharpening single bubbles.
Oh, the 90 watt. Yeah. Sweet.
Yeah, a lot of people like it.
Good. Yeah, it's a great stone. The Pro, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably the most popular finishing stone that we sell. It's great.
And this is a close second to the 6K. If you want a really good polish to it, great little stepping stone.
Yeah. Even the Sharpen 8, I've been hearing great things about too, but I really like the 6. I'm glad we have one of these guys at the shop.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So again, if you want to measure your angle, 3 nickels. It's very important that you keep your angle consistent throughout all the stones that you work at. 3 nickels, 1 spacer nickel. Move this guy aside. There we go. 15 degrees, right? There we go. Love that sound. So these Sharpen stones, everything okay there?
Yeah.
These Sharpen stones, which I really appreciate, they are all this sort of pearly white color, which makes them very, very, very easy to see when they're starting to get kind of dirty and clogged up. So it's going to tell you very, very clearly when it needs to be naguraed or trued. Flip this guy over, do the other side. Everything okay there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
James Lang has another account, Eroy Kansu, and I wasn't sure who I was talking to.
So the 6,000 grit, it feels like glass. It's very, very, very smooth. So it's tough to feel burr because I'm not really grinding a whole lot of steel on this. So I've just done both sides real quick here. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to try to feel for burr. I just finished this side of the knife, so I should feel burr over here. I feel nothing. There's nothing going on there. What I need to do to feel for burr on this guy is actually turn the knife right side up here. I guess upside down. This is upside down. Yeah. You don't use it like this. That's right side up. There we go. So I turn it upside down like so, and I feel both sides like I would for sharpness. So I put my thumb sort of right on the edge and flick off to the side. One side feels very sharp. One side does not feel very sharp because there's burr going off in this direction. This is the last side I sharpened, so the burr is coming off over here. This side feels extraordinarily bitey, but this side, nah, not so much actually. This doesn't feel too impressive. That's indicating that there's some burr on this side, and it's time for me to remove that burr. So you need to remove the burr of your knife, or else it's not going to feel super duper sharp, and you're going to feel like you just went through all these stones and all this work for absolutely nothing. But it's just burr. It's super easy to get rid of. You can get rid of it right on your stone. It's not that difficult. I take some water, I put it on top of the stone, and I do some single strokes in one direction. One. Really easy. I sort of do an edge leading stroke, but you can do edge trailing too. They work pretty much exactly the same way. I dry that guy off. I'm going to feel for burr again. Nice and sharp. Nice and sharp. Feels great.
Nice and sharp. Good technique to do after each stone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, removing your burr really helps you get very accurate and concise results. So after I'm done with all these stones here, I'm just going to get this out of the way. After I'm done with all these stones here, I'm not quite done sharpening yet. I want to do one more thing. I want to strop my knife. Stropping is really important. So strop can be any type of material. I use leather, I use canvas, we use denim, you can use cork, you can use felt, you can use all manner of things to help pull that burr, that very fine burr that you've generated, off of the edge of your knife. I'm going to be using my sort of standby here. This is my chromium oxide, which is a jeweler's rouge. I use that on my canvas side of the strop. So this strop is made out of canvas. I've loaded up with this green stuff. The green stuff is designed to polish steel. So not only is it going to remove the burr from the edge of my knife, but it's also going to polish the edge of my knife while I'm working. It's sort of a dual kind of action sort of strop that I'm going on here. Using a strop is quite easy. I'm going to lay it down flat on my table. And then I'm going to take my knife and I am going to drag my knife along the strop at the same angle at which I was sharpening. You can work in little sections just like so. Super, super easy to do. Just moving up the blade towards the tip. You can work in long strokes from the tip to the chin. Up to you, whatever feels better. I find that it's easier to learn when you're doing the sections. I think it's a little bit easier to keep that angle nice and consistent. There we go. A couple of strokes in either direction at the very end, just to ensure that that burr is as small as it possibly can be. And there we go. Let's test this guy out. Let's see how she drives. Nice. A little bit of sort of a bitey kind of sound, but still very, very smooth is what I'm looking for. I like to have a little bit of tooth in there, not too much, so that it doesn't tear my food. I also don't want it to be too slick, because then I find that the really slick edge sort of slides around on some types of foods like carrots and tomato skins. I like it to be not too hot, not too cold. Perfect Goldilocks edge on that guy. That's going to feel great for a huge, huge, huge variety of tasks. So Japanese knives, what do we talk about? Harder steel. And that makes them a little bit different to sharpen than others, but the same principles still sort of are there, right? With a Japanese knife, you definitely want to make your angle nice and low. You want to go between like 15 and 18 degrees. If you're confused about what angle to work at based on which type of knife or what type of steel you're working with, ask somebody. You can email me, Owen at Knifewear. You can email Francis at Knifewear. You can email hello at Knifewear. You can give us a call at the shop. We're more than happy to give you our tips and tricks. And everybody's got different methods, so don't feel free. Don't feel afraid. You should just reach out to us and we'll help you out. I like to go at it. If you're in doubt and you don't feel like calling us because you want to do it right now, just 18 degrees is fine. Always fine. You always want to make sure that you're going to an appropriate grit level. If I'm sharpening a European steel, like I mentioned, I only like to go up to about 1,000 grit. But when I'm working with Japanese steel, which is very hard and can take a great polish, I like to do 8 to 6 to 3,000, something in that neighborhood. You always want to give it that final polish to really get your money's worth out of these guys. That make sense?
That makes sense.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What other tips you got for sharpening a Japanese knife as opposed to a European knife, Francis?
I always say consistency, right?
Yeah, consistency is really important. I would say consistency is important with both, though, you know?
Definitely.
Yeah. Get a strop. Oh, man. get a strop. If you've been in the shop before, you probably like knives. And if you bought a knife from us before, you probably like your knife a lot. You probably got a ceramic honing rod. And ceramic honing rods are great. But if you're watching a sharpening class online, you probably really like sharpening. And if you're a sharpening nerd, you definitely need a strop. A ceramic honing rod is a great tool because it's cheap and it's easy to use. You can't fuck it up. It doesn't require any maintenance. A strop is a little bit more finicky, but is going to give you the absolute best edge that you can possibly get. And you can never strop too much. My buddy Chris Lord, he's the guy in the Ottawa shop, the manager with the terrible lobster tattoo upon his neck. You've probably seen him on Knife Chatter with Kevin. He did this video. And we got a lot of shit on Facebook for this video. I already said it was fake. Where he took a knife and he took some grapes and he cut the grapes with the knife. Pretty simple, right? He stropped the knife. That's how he did it. He stropped the knife for like 30 minutes. He just sat there and stropped and stropped and stropped and stropped. And he made this little video of a knife going through some grapes. It was dope. And everybody was like, oh, that's fake. You Photoshop things. Like, we don't know how to Photoshop. Are you kidding me? It's a knife store. We don't know how to Photoshop anything. No, we know how to strop though, and we know how to sharpen. The strop makes a huge, huge, huge difference. So just keep stropping over and over. Throw on like The Office or something, and just strop your knives. You'll have very, very sharp knives, and you'll feel really good. It's a great show. I know it's played out, but whatever.
I don't care what you think.
I don't care what you think. Any questions?
Well, Emily also actually answered this question right on screen here, but you can answer this one. You don't remove the burr after changing between each stone?
Yeah, you can. You probably should. Honestly, I should have done that. I am pretty confident in my sharpening skills, but it's always nice to remove the burr after you have finished with like your 220 grit to see where you're at. It also means that your burr isn't going to get knocked off the edge of the knife and into that sharpening liquid, where it can make those little clicky clacky sounds, which kind of suck and might in practice make your edge a little bit imperfect. Yeah, it's always a good idea to remove the burr between stones. You're right, but I didn't because I'm a pro.
Sometimes we forget, and you miss a little once in a while, but
no, it's because I'm a pro and I want to look cool and I want to go fast and I'm a pro.
Okay, he's a pro. He's a definite pro.
Do what I say, not as I. Well, also as I do, but not always what I do, but always what I say. Yeah, next question.
Next question. There's not much questions here.
No, we nailed it, huh?
Pretty quiet group in here.
If anybody's got any issues out there, just fire them our way. We have garage sale.
Yeah, while we're here, we're going to talk about the little announcements here. So we're going to talk about garage sale. Go at it.
Yeah. Garage sale is an event that we do twice a year. It is the most wonderful time of the year here at Knifewear. Basically, what we like to do is reach out to a bunch of our friends in Japan, blacksmiths and knife suppliers and business guys, and we say, hey, what's new? What can we get? We want to try it all. And we get all of this new stuff. We used to go in person, but we had to do it through Zoom this time around. So we ended up with some absolutely dope knives. The sale kicked off on Monday. We still have lots of sweet knives left. So pop over to knifewear.com, click on the garage sale tab, and see some really dope stuff. They are going to be gone soon. So don't drag your heels on it. If there's something that you want on there, just snag it because they're flying out of here.
Okay, we got another question here.
Yeah.
Question 9 is, what utility in the garage sale would you recommend for under $300?
Under $300? I'll be right back.
He'll be back, guys.
Gyuto, he said?
He says Gyuto.
Yeah. This is my favorite sub-3 bill Gyuto on the garage sale. This, if you can recognize the box, this is made by Masashi Yamamoto. Masashi Yamamoto is one of our very, very favorite blacksmiths here at the shop. He does phenomenal work pretty much year-round. We always have knives from him on hand, but we don't always have these. These are the only knives he makes, actually, that are made out of white carbon steel. They're carbon steel core, stainless steel lamination. They hold an edge magnificently well. He even does a core polish down on the bottom of the knife here. Gives you a mirror finish on their core for $290. It is a magnolia wood, water buffalo horn, white carbon with stainless clad knife with a mirror polished edge for $290.
That's a killer deal.
That's pretty ridiculous, actually.
I'll show you mine here while I'm on screen here. There you go.
This is a Masashi Yamamoto white carbon.
Now you know how we love these knives.
These are really, we actually only have 2 left.
Yeah, exactly.
These are fantastic. Yeah, for under $300, you are unable to go wrong with these guys. I would snap one up all you can. They're that sort of typical Sanjo style, so they have a little bit of thickness to them in the back end. but the grind on them is absolutely insane.
I forgot this one.
Oh, is that a Masashi Yamamoto?
Yeah. We our store has a small selection compared to the Calgary. So if you guys train up with the Calgary guys, those guys have like all the fancy cool stuff.
Yeah, the way we had to do it during pandemic time, because we can have so few people in the shop at the same time. We're trying to discourage having big lineups out the door like we used to have, which was so much fun, and I miss it so much. But most of the crazy stuff is staying in Calgary, and we've encouraged people to shop online. It's really, really safe. But next garage sale might be a little bit different. Yeah. Hopefully. Yeah.
But you take a wife's bought a Murata Petty today. Nice.
Murata? Dope. Yeah. Muratas are rare. Yeah. We just
catch him up if you can, guys.
He keeps saying he's retired, but then we keep seeing more knives from him, man.
We have a small stock.
I think he's just bored. Honestly, I think he's just like fishing, and then he goes home and he's just like watching like whatever Japanese Jeopardy is. And he knows all the answers, and it's all in reruns, and he's like, fuck. And he goes to the workshop and just makes like 9 knives and then goes to bed.
Custom knives, does that come with the Octona handle? No, the Masashi comes with a D handle?
It's a D handle. No, it's a D or oval. Sorry, I was just holding one.
I think it's a D handle.
I think it's a D
handle, yeah.
Yeah, it's a D handle. D handle with water buffalo horn and magnolia wood. The custom handle ones are gone. You people are monsters. You've ravaged all of our custom knife handles. We'll have more in the future, I promise. But these ones have the plain Jane handles. You're probably, honestly, if you're looking for a $300 Gyuto and you want a custom handle, you're probably going to have to get something else. Like, it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Such a nice knife.
Oh, they're dope.
Yeah. Masashis they always come in stock during these garage sales, and these are fantastic. We always love them when they come by. They're always got this unique finish. They're always nicer every single year, honestly.
Yeah, like it's a huge improvement. Like when I started the Knifewear 6 years ago, we only had one line of Masashis, and they were like good. But now we carry 4 different product lines, plus the 5th for the garage sale, plus his single bevels, and they're so good.
Oh yeah, their single bevels are amazing.
Yeah, they're
some
beautiful.
Of the thinnest, most laser like
great straight lines on them.
Yeah. Amazing. Yeah, you guys. If you guys have any more questions about this, keep on popping into the chat there. Garage sale runs from the 17th until the 7th, Sunday. Sunday, the 24th.
24th. There we go.
So if you guys are looking for a good knife, make sure you guys pop onto the website and whatnot to check it out and whatnot. Nacho's class is jumping out 3 o'clock tomorrow. So if you guys looking for some information, need very nerdy for the 2 hours, hit those guys up because those guys know their information. We're just a bunch of normal dudes here.
Yeah, we're just doing normal dude sharpening here.
Yeah, normal.
So this is the normal sharpening class is just micro bevels, but then we do the big wide bevel sharpening with Naoto.
Yeah, we're
Night, Jordan.
We are brothers here. We sharpen like normal brothers.
2 brothers.
2 normal brothers.
The movie's called 2 Brothers.
Yeah. What else is there? If you guys haven't checked out the Knifewear Rocks episode 2, definitely check it after this stream.
Yeah, Sharp Knives do rock. Episode 2 is way better.
Yeah.
It's way better than the first one.
Yeah,
those guys are they made a TV show. They've never made a TV show before, and they're fucking destroying it. They did such a good job last time.
Oh, he's on them.
Yeah. I'll have a fun drinking game to share. If you watch Sharp Knives Rock, every time, I don't know if he's watching right now. Don't tell Kevin I said this. But every time he says the word listen, take a drink.
Oh, oh man, I wouldn't last.
You're not going to make it, man.
I wouldn't make
No.
it. This goes nowhere, guys. This goes nowhere. This
Don't
game is
tell-
between
yeah,
us.
yeah.
Okay?
Don't tell
Thursday.
Kevin I said that.
Thursday only. Okay?
Yeah.
You only heard that from us. This goes nowhere.
I guess if we got no more questions, are we done? Do we have any more questions
We got a
here?
pretty quiet crowd here, so I think we're good here.
Yeah.
If you guys have any more questions, we got one more question. David Alexander, he asks us, I'd like to get a Dinka. What knife shape would you suggest?
I mean, that's a tough question. It depends on what you have already and what you want. If I were to be getting a Dinka,
can we say it at the same time? I think we go the same way.
1, 2, 3.
Dinka to carry
195 millimeter.
That was terrible.
195 millimeter Nikiri. You're welcome.
Yeah.
Next question.
Yeah. I definitely highly recommend that one. It's a very nice profile blade. It's one of those really unique ones. We actually have one of those, right?
Hang on.
We actually like it quite a bit. Like it's a knife where it compared to the rest of the Denko line, it just feels a lot different. The Mabaroshi one does have something very similar. We don't have it right now. But definitely recommend the 195. It just feels so much different than the rest of the Denko line. And here it comes. It'll be back in 3, 2, doom, doom, doom.
This is a big Nakiri.
Yeah.
This is a really big. Oh man, this is so big.
Yeah.
This is awesome. This is the only 195 millimeter Nakiri that we have in stock pretty much ever. It is gigantic and it is making me extremely happy right now.
It feels amazing. Once you get a knife in this size, you'll won't regret it. Honestly, it's just a nice size.
Yeah.
I think
get that one.
Everything else in like Nakiri line, lines between somewhere between 165 to 180 millimeter, and then they stop around there and they just go taller, right? So this Denko Nakiri is just very unique. It has that notch, that signature notch. Think about that notch, guys. Just keep thinking about that notch. And yeah, you got a fantastic blade over it, right? So this is the Denko. Definitely consider that one.
Get that one.
Yeah. Anyways, okay. We got more questions here. All your current knives are gone. What the first knife you buy to start over?
Oh, I gotta buy a whole new set, huh?
Buy a new whole set. Oh.
I'm getting a 240 millimeter Sakai Kikumori.
Oh, you took the words out of my mouth.
Yeah.
I've been very loving the Sakai Kikumoris and the Sakai Uls.
Yeah.
So Ul Sakai, those are my two favorite currently, and I would go start with any of them, the Sumi brand or the Anyway,
maybe this though.
I had this one knife that was eyeing quite a bit. The Sakai Kikumori, the garage sale. I don't know if there's any more in the warehouse or anything like that, but this is my favorite one. Not the Santoku, but the Gyuto one was really nice.
Yeah, this is the Aogami with stainless cladding. This is dope, man. It's $360 for this guy. I think the 210 was what, $390 something?
Yeah.
Yeah, we just sold it today, and we all teared up and waved at it as it left the shop.
The
Yeah.
CD finish too. It's very nice.
That's my wife. You can meet my wife. She's here. Hello.
Hello.
How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm excellent. Yeah, this is still one of the best deals that we have on the sale right now.
Yeah. I definitely. I was gonna snatch that up, but you guys snatched it up before I could. So.
Yeah, it's all for the best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's that saving me from my wallet troubles.
We got any more questions there, homie?
No, we're good.
Oh,
Let's do an outro right now.
Yeah. If you guys got any more questions that you didn't put in the comments and you think of them after the fact and say, oh, shit, you can email hello@knifewear.com. You can email me, owen@knifewear.com. You can email francis@knifewear.com. Don't forget to follow big fan of sharpening. Fantastic sharpening on Instagram. Yeah, I can put it up on the screen there. Let these people know. Garage sales going until the end of Sunday, and then we won't have another garage sale until November. So snap these guys up while you still can. And don't forget to tune in to us next week. Francis will be giving you some tips on how to sharpen Western-style knives. Yeah, like Wusthof ankles. Everybody's got some in their shelf, and you should keep them sharp, too, because they deserve it, too.
Yeah.
It'll
be an interesting class. It's we've never done before.
Yeah, we haven't done that one yet.
Perfect.
Yeah. Seems so simple. Low-hanging fruit.
Sick.
Yeah. Thanks a lot for watching, guys.
Thanks, guys. Take care.
Have an awesome night. We'll see you next week.
It's on the page there.
Bye.
Bye.
You should probably hit end stream instead of me awkwardly standing here staring at these people.
No, I'm just gonna put my plug in there first. Just give me a second there. Okay, and then now. Thanks.